Let's do some bold predictions on this weekend. Orlovsky, give me something bold.
Cam Ward, if the Titans do right by Cam Ward, he's going to be a top-8 player at the position. Some of his throws are absolutely insane that he puts on tape. And I'm trying to tell Titans fans, you're like, hey, feet are sloppy. Yeah, the team around him is on a struggle bus right now. He makes big-time throw after big-time throw after big-time throw. Get the right people around him, protect them, get the scheme that's custom fit around him. He's going to be a superstar, man.
What a win that was for them last week. Compton, give me a bold prediction.
I got a bold prediction for you. Taylor Swift's album dropped last week. Travis Kelce scored last week. He's going to score 2 weeks in a row here. Everybody wants to give up and quit on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not doing it. Did I say the Jags are going to beat them? Yes, I did say that, but everybody wants to jump ship. I'm not. I like the Chiefs. I love Travis Kelce.
You like the Chiefs this weekend?
I like the Chiefs this weekend.
I'm telling you.
Crystal ball Willie.
Against the Lions. Taylor, give me a little bold prediction here.
If the 49ers win against a 4-1 Buccaneers team, Kyle Shanahan needs to be the front runner and coach of the year. He's doing more with less right now. He's got no Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa, no George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings. He is putting his team in areas to be successful. We sat here last week and said they're going to get dominated by the Rams. And once you know it, Mac Jones was dicing them up out there. I see them having a lot of success this year.
I'm with you. Kyle Shanahan, an elite NFL coach, which brings us to that man. Maybe the elitist of the elite in the NFL. College so far has been another story. You probably saw it all over the internet yesterday. Numerous reports that suggested that Bill Belichick and North Carolina were engaged in negotiations to lower his buyout after a dismal start to his tenure. It got enough, the noise got loud enough that Belichick and the school released statements last night countering those claims. Belichick said, "I'm fully committed to UNC football and the program we're building here." Bubba Cunningham, the AD, said Coach Belichick has the full support of the Department of Athletics and university. So they're saying it's not over yet, and that may be true, but obviously it has been bad and it's getting very loud. And so to add to the voices we bring in, our Paul Feinbaum. Paul, what is your sense of what's going on in Chapel Hill right now?
Greeny, first of all, I felt those statements were completely and totally bogus. If you're going to make a declarative statement, make it. Don't just issue a meaningless piece of paper, which is what Belichick did. It feels to me like it is over. And I think his behavior is indicative of that. Not to make too much out of it, but he basically took a week off during the bye week. And he's entitled to have his own private life. We've said that repeatedly here, but I've never heard of a coach in big-time college football to do something like that. Maybe take an afternoon off to play golf during the bye week, but not go on vacation. So to me, he has checked out. The play on the field has checked out. His coaching has been abysmal. And I think Bill Belichick would be wise to walk out now before the humiliation gets any worse.
That really is the question I wanted to ask here, and I'll bring it to the group. But I'll start, I'll start, Paul, with you on this if I can. I mean, Bill Belichick's legacy in the NFL is written. We don't expect him to go back to the NFL, right? It feels less likely.
I would agree with that.
Than ever now. So his time in the NFL is what it is. His legacy is as arguably the greatest coach of all time. Do you think that this episode in North Carolina is going to impact the way he ultimately is remembered?
Greeny, only if it's prolonged and he continues to be embarrassed on a weekly basis. I think if he walks out now, everybody just shakes their hands like, okay, he tried it. He couldn't get an NFL job. He tried to get back in the league and it didn't work. But every time he stands up there and says something like he has said repeatedly that is just inane and stupid and inappropriate, whether it comes with one of his former players or a Patriot, it just gets worse. And there's only one way out for him, and I think it's to take it's an easy way out. And I know he doesn't like taking easy way out, but right now, if he walked out, I think he would save face more than to continue to fight and embarrass himself and really begin to tarnish his legacy.
Well, that's well said. Look, there's so much weird stuff here. And in all my years on I never like to get into people's personal lives. It's not my business. If it doesn't have anything to do with what with their business, with their coaching, or in his case, or whatever it is. But there does seem to be a total picture here right now that is impacting the way people are looking at the situation. And the reaction that I'm sensing is generally none of this feels like the person who Bill Belichick has been for the last 50 years in the NFL, right? Like the behavior, the performance on the field is one thing, but everything seems so completely removed from what we expect that it does feel to me like it's changing the way people look at him. You guys live in this stuff every single day. You live in the internet conversation a little more than I do. What is your sense of the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, you were saying it. Like, the thought of Bill Belichick coming to North Carolina, like, there were a lot of question marks before the season. I think they're beginning to get validated, the beginning of the end, as you would put it, Danny O. But once it started to happen, it's in my mind. I hate to see it. Because outside of the first drive they had on the season opener when they scored a touchdown, it's like, oh, Billy Belichick down there in North Carolina. But everything that is now unfolding, it's kind of like it's the Titanic. The water's coming in. Right now it seems like they're trying to play the captain where he just goes and sits in that little room before it goes down. Respect to it. But I'm with Paulie here. Like, save face, get out. It's bad.
What do you think, Taylor?
I think when it comes to his legacy as an NFL head coach, is not going to be tarnished. The longer he does stay in the situation, the more we're going to kind of remember it as he gets older and older. He had his time. It's over now, and it's the best thing to do is probably to save face. If you're writing these one-pagers saying we have full faith in Bill Belichick and Bill Belichick because I have full faith in what I'm doing at UNC, it's already over. That part of the world is done. You need to come out with a video. Hey, I messed up. I wasn't as focused as I should have been. Let me get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're North Carolina's administration, what about the last 6 or 8 months has gone how you expected? And what makes you think that it's going to change? And if you're Coach Belichick, what over the last 6 to 8 months has gone as expected, and what makes you think it's going to change?
Yeah.
There's been nothing but noise. It's been mostly negative. There's been parts that have been comical. I mean, he's become, in some eyes, a punchline, a laughing stock with some of the stuff. And then the play on the field has been terrible. And so how is it going to improve? If you're the administration, what is there to point to other than his past? Coach Belichick's the greatest coach I've ever witnessed. He's got one winning season since 2019.
Yeah.
So what is there to look forward to?
I'll just give you the flip side. I understand everything that everybody's saying, and there are some things that you can't argue against. I would say that the school gave him a 5-year, $50 million commitment. That's how some people in the program feel. They feel like they haven't had a recruiting class yet. They now are scheduled to have a top 20 recruiting class this upcoming season. They feel like they're not giving up on a coach after 5 games when you're talking about one of the greatest coaches in history. I hear everything that everybody's saying, and it is hard to argue with any of those points. But I'm just telling you there's a feeling within that organization from the people involved. That's how they feel, and we'll see how it plays out.
If you were a recruit and you've witnessed this season and certainly this past week, are you interested in going there?
They have a top 20 recruiting class, and they're out recruiting
You could
right
answer
now.
that better than
But right
anyone
now,
else,
so if I take you back to some Willie C days in Nebraska when Bill Callahan was the head coach in Nebraska, we had a top 5 recruiting class, Blaine Gabbert, Jonas Gray, a bunch of guys, top 5. They had a year there with Bill Callahan to where it all went to crap. And it fizzled out. Guys decommitted. Your boy stayed. But a lot of guys decommitted. It does have a huge impact,
totally.
Especially when you see everything becoming like a laughing stock.
And recruiting classes are, they're fickle with some of their ranking, and it's how much of portal, that also is a massive. I'm just telling you if I was an athlete, I'd be sitting there going,
By the way,
what's going on there?
As Pete Thamel pointed out in the first hour, their 2 best defensive players left after spring football when they saw the state of the football program to go to Penn State and Ohio State.
Paul, I'll give you the final word. Go.
Yeah, recruiting classes aren't very important anymore because there's so much happening in the portal. So even if you have all these commitments, they still have to sign in December. But the most important thing is, would anyone want to transfer into this program? And Greeny, I think the answer is no.
Feels that way for sure. Paul, outstanding. Thank you. Good to see you as always.